Hey! Welcome back, everybody. I'm Monkey. We're back here in Rust. We're talking about the Rust Console Edition and how to do building for new players, intermediate players, and some advanced players if it's been a while since you played this. Full disclosure, we are on the PC right now, just for the time being, just because community servers aren't available to us quite yet. So I'm going to go over some of the differences and go over the specifics that are for the console edition, because there are some differences, like subtle differences, and a couple gotchas that we found while we played both the limited beta and the pre-order beta. So, and these are actually screenshots from there. We got a Zerg here. That's our base, and then those are the boys inside the base. We did it up. Okay. At any point, if you do find this useful and helpful, be sure to drop a like, and if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing and turning on those notifications. Tap the bell and make sure it's the jiggly bell, and you'll be good to go. Not to be confused with Jigglypuff. Not Jigglypuff. Okay, so base building, what's it all about? What are you going to need it for? It's mad confusing if you're brand new to this game, so hopefully we can shed some light on that. All right, right away. So when you play this game, you find out very quickly that when people sign out, leave the server, your character falls asleep on the ground. And when that happens, literally anybody can rob you. So the next logical conclusion is, hey, I need to stick my carcass and my belongings inside of a building to protect it. And you are absolutely correct. That is really what you want to do. You want to strive for almost immediately, because it's really hard to hang on to your loot otherwise. And base building is the core of that whole protection of your loot. So it's important to understand this on the get-go. And there are, well, you might as well get into it now. There are some very distinct things about the build system here. There's a cementing phase, and so when anything goes past the cementing phase in building here, it's going to be permanent. So you have to rate it, others have to rate it, so you really have to have a good idea where you're going to go with this and how you're going to expand on your base, but also have the ability to think on your feet and make those adjustments on the fly, which makes for some really interesting gameplay, interesting builds, and some surprising raids, as it were. So, all right, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. All right, I do have admin here. Real quick, I've got superpowers like this. And then I've also got super stacks. These normally stack to 100. That's high quality. Refined, this is metal fragments. We have stone and wood. Those stack in 1,000. You would never throw these on the ground. That's crazy. But I have super stacks here, so we don't have to worry about farming. Real quick, just to show you what some of the nodes look like. You'd have to use a stone pickaxe or a metal pickaxe. We've got a metal node here. We've got a stone node here. And then this is for like raiding and for gunpowder and wait, where are you? Explosives and stuff. That's what sulfur is. You don't really need this at all for building, but just so you know the difference. And then we have wood over here. All right, so this is under the understanding, or is the understanding that you've collected 5k stone and 5k wood to get started. Right away, the things that you will need for this are building plans and a hammer. So right away, go to your crafting menu, which is you hold down on the D-pad to get your crafting menu up on both PlayStation and Xbox. Ours is organized slightly different than this, but the categories are literally the same. So you would go to construction for the first one. Building plans are 20 wood. Queue that up, and then go to tools for the wooden hammer. That is 100 wood. And to save time, I've already got those down here, so queue those up. Also, one of the just core things that people miss, you're going to need to make a tool cupboard. So go ahead and craft one of those as well. Under items, nope, I'm lying, just kidding, that's construction, and then queue up a tool cupboard, which will take roughly 30 seconds, and it's 1,000 wood. So already the cost is going up considerably. Now, while we're going through the rest of this, go ahead and craft one wooden door for 300 wood, and the cost might be slightly different because I know our version is the 2018 version with some hybrid changes. Point in case is, I think our double wooden door is 600 wood, and this here it's 350. So another reason why we tell you to get about 5k stone, 5k wood overall, just to get started. So you're going to craft one door, one wooden double door, and then 2 wooden locks just to get started. We'll go over some of the gotchas that we've got there. Hang on just one second. Oh, it's goozy. Okay, so I'm trying to think of the best way to go through this. We've got different building types here in the building system. Before we go through and we're waiting for these other things to craft, we've got armor here. We've got metal, sheet metal, and it's duly noted I'm going to use my admin powers. This these need to be refined first. They need to be smelted, and so does high quality. High quality is always in high demand, both with weapons and base things, and upkeep can really, you can upgrade things, but then all of a sudden the cost can get pretty hefty, but we'll go over that later. So just know these two tiers here, armor and metal, do require some time and a different object for you to smelt things in, for you to use those, because when you have them, bringing them off the board, they are going to be raw, and you do have to cook those. Things you don't have to use, you don't have to refine or do anything to, you can use them off the rip, is stone, wood, and twig. Twig is more for outlining. Wood is more for temporary stuff if you'd like to do some expansion a little bit later. And stone is usually it's a pillar, it's a standard thing. It's the one that's the most common, and then as you can afford it, you go over to metal. But anyways, I'm going into more finite detail. All right, so I'm just going to walk through these real quick so you can see what they look like. There's all kinds of different building blocks here. And there are what's called hard side, soft side, but again, we'll go over that a little bit later. Different doors here. So I try to put all the building blocks in the same place here. Now, this is going to look wildly different on the current version that we're in. It doesn't have this like plywood inset. It's all like just straight sheet metal. So just know that looks a little bit different for us over on the console edition, at least for now. And armor, which I still to this day, it makes it hard for me to remember which way is which as far as hard side, soft side. All right, so to get started, I just wanted you guys to see that. We're going to go into more depth on that here in a little bit. Now that you've got your building plans and your hammer in hand, we're going to go to a place that has no building privilege right now. So I know that's a little confusing right now because if you look in the lower right-hand corner, we do have building privilege. Our tool cupboard's in this little inset here. So we're going to go to a place that doesn't have it and won't overlap. There's like an invisible perimeter. It's about 5 foundations from all the interconnected foundations to your tool cupboard. So since this is the tool cupboard, it's roughly, see how we're in it and now we're out of it. You always want to give yourself, you want to find the edge of somebody's invisible tool cupboard line and give yourself some more room. So we've got a base over there that's most likely has a tool cupboard, or I know it does because I put it there. We have one there, so this should be safe for us. So right away, when you have your building plans up, you're going to hold right trigger or R2 on the PlayStation, and now you have a selection wheel for all the different building blocks. We're going to start with a foundation itself. Now, as long as you've got wood and stone, you should be able to place this on the ground, like so. And what we're going to do is place another one directly next to it. And again, I'm hitting left trigger or L2 on the PlayStation. Now we're still in the building plans. Now we're going to hold right trigger again, or R2. Did I say L2 for the other one? I think you get what I'm saying. Now we're going to select the wall. And with the X facing us, and again, you can rotate. Oh, what was the rotate button? I want to say it's Y on Xbox, and it's triangle for PlayStation. You're going to place these down here. We're just going to place 3 of them. And you can tell it's the interior or the soft side wall because you've got this X going on here on this wall. And if you look on the other side, you don't have that X. So this is oftentimes where you see people start, and they're like, yeah, I'm good. But I don't really see this in other games where you have to immediately pick what you want it to be for the next upgrade. You don't want to leave it thatch or twig. It's super easy to knock down. So what you want to do is then select your hammer. And then while you're down here, there is a shortcut key for PlayStation and Xbox to upgrade immediately if you have the materials, which is X on Xbox and it's square on PlayStation. It's good and it's bad because if you have the materials on you and you're walking through your base like this, it can be kind of a gotcha, but we'll go over that later. So what I would suggest doing is doing it the PC way, which is to have the hammer out, hold the right trigger, or R2, and then select from the wheel what you would like to upgrade. In this case, we're going to select stone. We're going to go up to this wall and do the same thing. Stone. Go to this one, right trigger hold, and then select stone. Same thing here. Now, we have this base down, and yeah, somebody could shoot this out easily, but technically, we don't own any of this yet. Anybody can come in, clap my cheeks, and take the base. Just 1 second. So right away, what you want to do, I thought I had water, but I don't. Oh, yes, I do. 1 second. Right away, what you want to do is make sure that you place down what's called a tool cupboard. A tool cupboard claims the area around your base and all the interconnected foundations. So, It makes this mechanic is unique because not only does the tool cupboard claim your area and the structure, but it also is a place where you stick your extra materials to have upkeep. Yes, this game has upkeep. So every 24 hours, depending on the size of your structure, it will cost X amount of resources, depending on how big it is and what resources you've used to upgrade it. Oops, let me reattach here. All right, so let's go ahead and drag down one of our tool cupboards that we crafted previously. I'm going to select it by using the directional pad. I like to rotate until the knobs are facing me, and then I like to wedge it in one of the corners. See how we go here, and then it's like red. So push on the back wall, and then we're going to strafe to the right and place it like so. Now, in order for you to claim this, you're going to have to authorize immediately, which is action, and I want to say that's X on Xbox and then square on PlayStation. So here's the thing. With no locks in place, anybody can come up and authorize. If you hold the action button, somebody can clear your authorization. So the thing you want to do immediately is lock it. So remember those 2 wooden locks we created? Well, putting it down in your toolbar, your quick bar, using left and right, go ahead and select your wooden lock, go to your tool cupboard, and then place it. Here in this version, it automatically locks. Sadly, in the version we have, it does not. So what you want to do is you want to look at this and make sure, and I mean make sure, this is red. Okay, green is bad. Okay, that's unlocked. That means somebody can steal it. On doors, on tool cupboards, you want to make sure it's red. So what you want to do is you look at it and hold action, which is going to be X on Xbox and square on PlayStation, and just make sure that it's locked. It would look like this when you place it. Excuse me. If you hold action, don't make a key. Just make sure it's locked, make sure it's red, and you're good to go. Now, what is this key business, right? Like, let's say you've got more than one person, or you're like, hey, I want to go outside. I need a key, right? Well, you don't. You could make one, but we always tell people just don't make a key. It's bad news. So yes, you can use it, but the thing is, the person who placed the lock has authorization to open any door, even if you have no key. And that's the way you should do it when you start, even when you have a group. So when you have a group and you can't afford the better key lock yet, make sure you've got one person designated to open the door for the team members until you can afford it. Just keep that in mind. Wooden locks are always the way to go to start. And if you're solo, you're going to keep everything a wooden lock. But just know, make sure it's red and do not make a key. All right, so right away, we've got, well, let's go ahead and finish this. So technically, I mean, this is ours, but we could still get clapped. So what you want to do is you want to put down a door immediately. So going back to your building plans, go ahead and select the wheel by holding right trigger, R2, and now look for what's called the doorway. We're going to place one right here, again with those X's facing us. We're going to select right trigger, or I'm sorry, R2 for PlayStation. Again, we're going to select the wall, the X facing us. Now we're going to switch to the hammer and right trigger hold, R2. Then select stone if you can afford it. And then looking at the floor, holding right trigger again, holding right trigger again, L2, R2. And then we've got this here. Now, we don't have a rooftop yet. But also, please note, remember we were talking about that cementing phase? Well, since most of this has been placed and it still hasn't been 10 minutes, if you, with the hammer out, if you right-click hold, you now have the rotate option, which again is within that cementing phase. Once the cementing phase is over, you cannot rotate. But one of the things after you placed before it cements, you do have this demolish option, which does not last long. So just remember, you can't always demolish things. Like once it's cemented, you're stuck with it. So you always want to make sure you've got the soft sides in. We're going to go to the hammer, right click hold, and we're good to go. Now, hard side, soft side basically means just that. One side's harder, the other side's softer. So you can melee things down. It's a lot more difficult on the hard side. And on the smooth stone side here, it would be much easier. Just know you're vulnerable when the soft side's out, right? So hard side out, soft side in. Right? Just like a shell of a turtle. No way? Yes? All right, now that the tool cover is locked, we're going to need to place a door. So we're going to go ahead and place our first door here. And again, if you look to the left or right, it's going to change the way it opens. This way opens towards me. If I look to the left, it's going to open away from me. We're just going to place that door down here. And again, anybody can open this door. So you want to go immediately to your wooden lock, place it, and again, in our version, it's going to start off green, which is bad. So you're going to want to go up to this and hold action, which is, excuse me, square on PlayStation, X on Xbox, and lock, do not make a key. And now, You can open and close your door with relative safety. You don't have an airlock yet, but this is definitely a good start. Now, one of the other things we don't have is we don't have a roof, so people can people stack or climb up and definitely still jump in. So you're going to want to go to your building plans, right-click, hold, and then select floor. Or did I say right-click, hold? I meant to say right trigger or R2. Place one here for twig. Place another, and then switch to your hammer, and then right trigger or R2 hold. Select stone. And now, for the most part, you're safe. You can still get flame rated here from anything that can burn wood, but at least you've got a good start to keep people away. Now, we've got a 2x2. If you look inside the tool cupboard, this 24-hour cost, 24 real hours, this is the upkeep for this base right now as it stands. 261 stone and 30 units of wood. Now, if you don't keep that in there, this will slowly decay over time. See the health? 500 out of 500, and it will go down. So what this does, this makes it so A, your base can get stolen, which is great, or if somebody's not playing or they make a base too big and they don't keep the upkeep going, the base will start to decay and other people can locust the base. They can scavenge through the base and take what they want. And so when the walls start coming down, people start going through and scavenging through the bases just all around. It's a great way for the loot to come back into the economy. So anyway, so we're going to put in some stone and some wood. This shows you 3 days, 19 hours, and 57 minutes. So now you've got the upkeep. You can see it there in the lower right-hand corner. A, we have building privilege, and now there's upkeep that's past 72 hours. Now, one of the things, after you've cemented, sometimes you want to rotate things. And if you're in the cementing phase, that's great. But once it's solidified, like over here by our set, I'm going to go ahead and use those admin abilities. Let's say we place something out here. Probably have to delete this. And let's say I want to rotate this. Notice when I right-click hold or right trigger or R2 hold, I've got no option to rotate. But if I were to upgrade this wall, now for a short amount of time, which I believe is 5 minutes, now I have the option to rotate. But I don't have the option to demolish. So that's the huge difference between when things are placed, you've got the 10-minute window. As things are still wet, the cement's wet. But when it sets, that's it. At least that's the way we look at it. Let me know if that's helpful or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So let's go over some of the materials here real quick. We'll start with the twig again. You can see, oh yeah, let's talk about soft side. Here, let me fly again and go over the stone side. It's a bit easier. So I'm going to show you the soft side for every one of these. So with stone, the soft side for a foundation is, believe it or not, the top. All the other sides are considered hard. This door frame for double doors and garage doors. By the way, garage doors are key in any wipe. They're just a massive pillar or even keystone for any base defense. These are one of the few building blocks that don't have a soft side. They're all hard sides. So keep that in mind. There it is. I know it's a sketchy burp. Okay, so floor tile or ceiling tile. The soft side is the bottom. So if somebody gets into the lower guts of your base and starts to pick upwards, it is a lot softer. Same with this triangle ceiling tile, floor tile. The soft side's on the bottom, hard side's on the top. And with the walls, one side's hard, which is this side that has more detail. And then the smooth side is the soft side. Doorways have 500 health, just like walls. But they do have hard and soft sides. And then we've got a roof tile that has a hard side and a soft side. Let's see, am I missing one? I feel like I'm missing one. We might be. I don't know. Okay, so one of the things, without going into too much detail, because we just want to cover a lot of base building type stuff. And again, if you're looking to do a base build to get you started or even store your loot, I do have a 1x2 guide or base build design. I will link that now in the upper right hand corner. That will help you a lot. Even if you're doing a different build, a 1x2 is a great place to stick your sleeping bag and start storing your resources as you're going back and forth and you decide what location you want to be in. And a lot of times that small starter base will sit on the side while you're smelting and stuff, and then you've got your construction area close to that 1x2. Anyways, let's see, what am I forgetting? These are a bit wider in the version we have. Once Building 4.0 blocks are all fully ported, you'll see these narrower stairs that will come in for us. But just think of these, but they'll be a bit wider for us. We've got those foundations. Let's see what else. There's one other thing. Oh, yeah. So once you do eventually, let me just tell you, once you've got your first base up, airlocking is a big deal as well. Creating multiple doors to get in. Creating airlocks. I'm just going to do this one real quick. Like so. I've already got these crafted. See, super stacks are the best. So if you create airlocks, it's a way for you to protect yourself from people waiting outside. And believe you me, that is going to happen a lot when you play this game. So airlocks like this, you see how if I want to go out and I open this, it blocks this doorway. And vice versa. If you come in here, I can't go into the base until I shut this one. So it creates like a nice little buffer, but also a single pass-through. That's what I call it for the base. Now, if you're going to build a base, make sure that before you sign out, anything you want to keep is behind at least a sheet metal door. It's not invincible, but it's going to stop flame raids, yoka raids on you. If you're online, wooden doors will stop people. But again, it's not impervious. But sheet metal doors will definitely stop some people, but more sheet metal doors, the better. Just remember, when someone's raiding you, the path of least resistance is always through the doors, unless it's designed to do otherwise. And again, I've got a raid guide, how to do raiding, basics, that, and the other things. I'm going to go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner. Go ahead and check that out if you're down. Let's see, what else am I forgetting? Oh, yeah. So once you've got your airlocks, to create a sheet metal door, you can either go to the outpost and purchase. Where are you, outpost? You can purchase already smelted metal fragments for 25 scrap a piece, which I think is a steal. And it's really great because if you don't have those initial furnaces to smelt things, it makes it very difficult to get it. So look, 25 scrap for 250 metal fragments. Woo! So you can make a sheet metal door, like so. And then you can craft a code lock. A sheet metal door, I believe, is 150. Yep, 150 metal fragments. And then a code lock is 100 metal fragments. So the whole ensemble is going to cost you 250 metal fragments. So really, if you've got 25 scrap, they say the exact amount you need for your first sheet metal door, which I would strongly suggest. Okay, so let's say you did have those. I'm going to use my admin commands to get rid of that quickly. Let's say you've got this and your first code lock. I'll show you how this works. So with a sheet metal door, again, we're going to look left and right. And then we want it to open into the triangle. Now we're going to select using the D-pad our code lock. Now if we walk up to it, and remember, green is bad, red is good. Now you're going to hold your action button, which is square or X on the Xbox, and then you're going to select change the code. Don't make it 11, don't make it 6969. That's always bad. But in this case, I will. And then if you entered it, you've always got access. But you always want to make sure when people are entering these codes that the door always ends up in red. Because if it's green, anybody can change it, which means I can steal your doors. And that's very, very bad. Now, with this code lock, and you've got multiple team members online, this is the one that you want. But remember, until you've got your first furnace, that can be a difficult thing to do. Now, one of the things you want to shoot for when you've got all this down, and let's say you weren't lucky enough to buy your metal fragments, and you're looking to get or cook your metal fragments, your next big goal after you put your base down, and, oh, wait, here's another important one, sleeping bag. Call this one base. Once you've got these down, the next thing, the goal you're looking for, and I'm just going to show you what this is and how many, what they cost to put down, is a furnace. Furnace is how you smelt things. That's how you cook up your sulfur. It's the key into the next phase of everything in this game. So, oh, that scared me. It's going to cost you stones, wood, 200 stones, 100 wood, and 50 low grade. Now, there are red barrels across the map that will drop low grade itself. You can also cook crude. Let me show you what this looks like. Okay, here, I'm going to use my admin stuff again to do this. I'm going to show you what crude looks like. This is crude oil, and this is low grade. Let me show what this looks like. There you go. You can cook these in oil refineries. There is a free one, again at the outpost back in one of the alleys. You can cook just the same way you cook on a furnace itself. You spread out 3 of these and then put some wood down, and it's going to make you low grade. Or, in this case, let's go back to the items. If you have animal fat and cloth, animal fat right here, we got cloth right here. Your resources, you can craft low grade, 3 animal fat and 1 cloth. So it is good to harvest other people that are on your beach, not only for the bones, but the animal fat plus cloth can help you bridge that gap if you're having a hard time getting low grade. Again, red barrels across the map will help you get those, and crude oil itself. But again, in the beginning, you're going to claw to get anything you can that's low grade. And really, that's the hardest part of getting your first furnace down, is getting that low grade. So once you've got that 50 low grade, I mean, if you're doing any kind of farming, you'll get to wood and stone, so you'll be good to go. And then your start is to put that down somewhere in your base. So there you go. Those are the fundamentals of base building off the rip. Are we already losing daylight? We sure are, so I guess that's good timing. Again, if you found this useful and helpful, be sure to drop a like. If you're looking for something a bit beefier for a solo, duo, or even a trio, I've got a 2x3 base build that I will link now in the upper right-hand corner. And again, let us know if this was helpful. Let us know what your experiences were. And the, I was going to say pre-order beta, but now it's going to be full release. And don't worry, we'll do another one of these again in-game for the console edition as soon as we've got enough resources and we're not getting stream sniped nonstop. But yeah, be sure to stop by and let us know how it was for you in the comments down below. We will be live streaming this, and there will be plenty of more videos. Again, I hope this was useful and helpful for you, and we'll see you in the next one. I love you. Bye! See, we don't have horses yet. I'm going to ride off into the sunset. Quite literally. Oh yeah, stability, real quick, while we're riding off into the sunset, basically means how high you can build. And if you've got low stability, that means your base is hollow on the inside, and you may need to put more supports or walls up in the center to help support the structure. I probably should have said that earlier, but if you listen to it all the way through, you've got the tips now, baby. And we're gonna fly away.